Hey YouTube. Yo man. Hey, so this is actually a video. Don't worry about that ring light in my glasses. I know y'all see it. Don't worry about that. Yo, but this is actually a video of me creating my first pair of SB Dunks ever. I've never made a pair. I was never taught. I made a decent amount of Jordan 1s before. I was taught step by step what to do. This, I wasn't taught step by step, I had to do it myself. So I went around asking different creators some questions, how to do it. I looked up YouTube videos. I did all that myself, man, just so I can try to learn how to create another shoe. And I'm gonna do even more shoes in the future. But me and my brother, we talked it over. I wanted to create something for myself. He was like, bro, you from Cleveland? It's All-Star Weekend. How about a throwback cast shoe? I was like, you crazy, let's do it. So we came up with the concept, got the idea, and what make it really raw is like the shoe is actually like, this is a jersey material. I cut a jersey up to put it on here. I cut the actual basketball up and put it on the shoe. Like, this is a basketball, this shit crazy. But like, yo man, I really made this from scratch, and it's really a banger. So sit back, like, comment. Y'all should be subscribed already. I shouldn't have to tell y'all to subscribe, because y'all should be subscribed. But no, man, I appreciate y'all for being here, for checking the video out. I'm deciding if I'm gonna do orange or black laces. Still ain't decided all the way yet. But hey, man, watch the process.
All right, man, right here, all I'm doing is tracing the pattern onto my black leather. The black leather is actually going to be the backing to my jersey material. I can't just make a shoe out of a straight jersey. It'll be too flimsy, and it just won't hold up structurally. Nothing special going on here, just me cutting out what I just traced. Alright, so right here actually gets pretty interesting. One, because my dog Hero is trying to learn how to do it too. But two, is because I'm cutting up the jersey just so it's only one side. Then I'm going to spray the jersey and the leather backing that I already cut. And I'm going to bind those two together to give it structure and make the part of the shoe that's a jersey stronger. Hey, your boy get dangerous with a pair of scissors in my hand. Plus, man, that boy was looking at me funny. No, all jokes aside, that was just me popping out the air just so I can get the ball to look like this, so I can trace the swooshes and I can cut the basketball to look like swooshes. Time to roll out that blue leather, baby. Just getting ready to cut my leather up, so I gotta trace the pattern, then cut it up and get into it. This is one of the processes I hate the most. It's called skiving, and this basically is just cutting part of the leather, like the back of the leather, to make it thinner, not as thick, because part of leather stacked on top of other parts of leathers when you sew it down, and you don't want it poking out, so you skive it to get it thinner. I'm sorry in advance here. My camera started falling down, but all I was doing here was adding stitching to the back piece of the dunk. It's 3 lines that go across back there just for show. That's what I was doing here. Alright, time to start sewing your materials together. Now, before you sew them together, you got to hold them in place. Now, you can use double-sided tape or you can use glue. I use both depending on what and where I'm using it at. But you do that and then you get to sewing. Alright, that piece you just made, you sew it to the tongue. To make the tongue, you get your 2 pieces of material, you put your foam in the middle, and you sandwich it together. As you see, there's pre-marked lines there. Just be careful, make sure you use those lines. Those are to guide you. Those help to make sure your pattern, whatever size shoe you're doing, from a 6, a 4, a 12, or 100, that all just makes sure that it lines up perfect how you want it. Alright, so I added the wings to the back piece. That's what I'm doing here. Before I sew this down, I actually have to add the 2 side pieces onto this piece, then start sewing this piece down. Alright, when sewing this piece, you got to make sure you're hitting the edges, the left, the right, and the top edge to sew this piece down, but make sure you're leaving space at the very top when you're doing it. Alright, probably one of my favorite pieces so far is me putting the swooshes onto it. I think this is my favorite piece because it's a basketball. I'm adding a basketball to a shoe, so I think this is pretty raw. Alright, swoosh is sewn down. Now it's time to add the back tab. Sew that down and then add on the liner. Now comes all the pieces that you don't even see. You got to add in the heel counter. You got to glue that down. You got to add in the upper foam. You have to spray that down. You even have to add in another piece of foam and spray that just to make sure it's durable. But not only that it's durable, but that it's comfortable when you wear it. Don't worry, I got a new camera holder after I seen this because this is ridiculous. But all I did was put the liner face to face, sew it down all the way around the top, and then flip it over, and that's how you get the liner for the shoe. Now once you sew the liner and flip it over, you glue it down and make sure you pull it tight. All right, not gonna lie, this part took me a little extra time. I had to figure out how to connect the front to the back and also put on the eyelids and how to sew it the right way. But I was able to figure it out. Took me a little time. I got it together and now we good. Woohoo! We're done. Nope, we're not. Even though we just finished all that, it's still so much more we gotta do. Right here, I'm popping out the eyelet holes for the shoelaces. Now that you punch the holes out of there, you want to lace them up so they keep their shape for when you put them on the last. Now before you put the piece that you just did, the upper, onto the last, you have to trace this part out and you have to nail it to the bottom of the last. This is basically what separates the insole from the midsole. Now that the bottom is fit perfectly, cut perfectly to the last, now you can put the upper onto the last and you have to nail it down, but make sure you keep it straight. You got to straighten it up, you got to tweak it, you got to make sure, because this is an important part to make sure your shoe looks perfect. Now that the upper is nailed down, now you want to add some glue. You want to add glue so it holds its place. It stays where it's supposed to be. You can't keep the nails there because you can't sand the nails down. And of course you can't walk on nails. So you put glue, you glue it down, it stays where it's supposed to be. You sand that down, then you add that to the midsole. Now that the glue has set and you've bonded the two pieces together, now it's time to take out the nails. You want to get rid of the nails because you don't need them anymore. That's what the glue is for. Again, you would think we would be done after this, but no, there is more to come.
I just scratched the mess out of myself, excuse that. But, all right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the soles off these. I bought it off eBay. It's a little bit cheaper. All I gotta do is clean them up, so I'll just wash them. I'm gonna put the sauce on it, put them inside my little compartment, my UV lights. It's gonna brighten them up, make them white. Then I'm gonna pop them off and put them on the dunks. All right, so right here, I already took the stitching out, as you can see. There's no stitching in here. So what I'm about to do now, get loud. So what I'm gonna do is heat the soles up with a heat gun, and I'm gonna be heating up a screwdriver while I do it too. And all I'm doing is heating this up. So now the glue is gonna start weakening in here, and all I'm gonna do is just start sticking the screwdriver in and prying it out, and that's it.
So since this shoe has been used before, I mean the sole of course has been used before, so it's excess glue that's stuck onto the sole. So right here I'm taking my Dremel and I'm getting that excess glue off, and I'm gonna go over with acetone to clean it all off to make sure it's clean and smooth for my own shoe.
All right, so now I am about to sand down the bottoms. I'm gonna sand this part right here to make it flush with this, and like to get rid of this extra stuff right here. It's like extra material. I'm gonna sand all this down so it's flatter. That's it, honestly. Right now, what we're about to do is I took the sole, I took the upper off the sole, I sanded it down, acetoned it so it's gonna be clear. So now, next step is going to be taking the bottom in the shoe. I sanded this down too. So taking this, placing it on here, I'm gonna mark it up to where I gotta glue it. I'm gonna add the glue onto it, let it sit for like 25-30 minutes. Put it inside my oven, let it heat up, stick it together, and you got a dunk. I'm gonna sew it up at the end, but it's gonna seal it right there. Right, so I put my markings down where I gotta sand, like around here. Gotta sand it, and then glue the whole bottom. I'm gonna let it sit for like 25-30 minutes. Put it in the oven to bake it. But with the sand and everything, you want to put your mark. So I was taught that like you want to sand it down a little bit just so the glue adheres to that a little bit more.
When you gluing your uppers and your sole together, make sure you're hitting every square inch of the sole and every square inch that you got marked of the upper with glue. You want to make sure everything is covered, so once they connect, the bond is extremely strong.
Oh, all right. So look now, my oven is heating up. I had let it heat up for about right now about 5-10 minutes now, so it's really hot. All right, so I'm gonna get my shoes and my soles, and I'm gonna put them in 2 at a time. So 1 shoe and 1 sole at a time. Let it sit in there for about 2.5-3 minutes. Take it out and glue it together.
I'm always very careful when gluing the uppers to the sole because this is a very hard thing to fix if you mess it up. The glue is just so strong, so you want to make sure that you are just about perfect every time doing this part.
Bow, baby, y'all got the bird's eye view now. New this thing called new like little face light camera thingy. Y'all got the bird's eye view. Yo, so as y'all seen, I glued it up and everything, so now it's glued together. So now what I'm gonna do, take the laces out, and I'm gonna pop the last out. Usually people use it's some type of like tool, but it costs like $200-300. I'm not paying that. I use a screwdriver in my hand. It's much easier. Screwdrivers cost like screwdrivers cost like what? I don't know, $7-8. Get a flat head, and I can pop it out and pull it out. So that's what y'all about to see now. Y'all about to see me pull this out. And then I'm going to stitch up the wall, clean it up. I got a lot of dirt and dust on it. Clean it up, and then we set, baby. All right, so now, like I said, it's still dirty, so I'm gonna clean it up at the end. But what I'm about to do now is go ahead, I'm gonna do white stitching. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut my my thread. I'm gonna go ahead and stitch up the soles onto the uppers, and then clean it up. And bow, man, just like that, we created some dunks. I'm not gonna say just like that. It was a long process. I still gotta add soles, as y'all can see, but it's a long process. I try to trim the video down a lot for you guys. I know a lot of people aren't going to watch this video. It's more so as a helpful tool. I know it's not a lot of dunk videos out there, so I was thinking if I I would, and I learned how to do it, so I was trying to give back. So somebody else, maybe they see my video, maybe it helps them create something that they want to create. But I gotta figure out what lace is. I'm leaning towards the orange. But thank you guys for tuning in, for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment if I helped you out. If you want to see me make something else, if you want to see a different colorway, you got any ideas of what I can make a dunk out of or anything of that nature, let me know. But thank you guys so much.